Happy Wisdom Wednesday, everyone. So this week's book of the week is
I set up table.
You need any help?
See, take off your clothes.
Total Recall, my unbelievably true life story by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, I've been meaning to get around to reading this amazing autobiography because I've heard so many good things about it, but I never did, and I finally did, and I absolutely loved it, and you're going to, really love it as well if you give it a chance. I actually recommend for many people to get the audiobook. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually narrates the first couple chapters, which is fantastic. But when it comes to autobiographies, I think that's a great way to digest them is, of course, get the book, but more importantly, having it, listen to the stories. For example, I would listen to them when I would go on walks for a little break in between my meetings, or even when I work out. But just to give you a quick synopsis of Arnold's amazing story, and I'm going to give you 3 keys to his formula of success. Let's think of it like this. He came from a poor family, from a war-torn country in Austria after World War II, right? Dirt poor. Found a way to envision and set his sights on coming to America to make it. He makes it to America. Then starts working out at Gold's Gym at Venice Beach. Joe Weider, the founder of Gold's Gym, decides to invest in him. And along the way, Arnold becomes a 6-time Mr. Olympia champion, something that he had always dreams about. Then he decides that he's going to learn about business. So while he's doing that, he starts learning as an immigrant, new to this country. He sets up his own business. He sets up like a mail order business to send books and workout tips to people. Then decides he's going to learn a little about real estate, teaches himself real estate. Again, as an immigrant in this country, it's not even his first language. Then after getting success there, he says, you know what? I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be an actor. And he was told that he has no talent, he has a funny last name that people won't be able to pronounce, and he's going to have to change it. He barely speaks English. He had no way. He becomes an actor, right? A world-famous actor. Then he decides, I think I'm going to run for the second highest position you can have in the state of, in the country, in the United States, which is a governor. Right? He runs for governor of California, the largest state in our country, and not only wins, he won as a Republican, right? It's unbelievable. And along the way, he decides that he also had a goal and a dream of marrying a Kennedy, and he gets married to a Kennedy. It was an unbelievable story. And there were some keys and very specific things I found in his story that kept repeating that I would like to share with you to show you how Arnold achieved his dreams. And I think if you apply these to your life, you'll be able to achieve, of course, your dreams, but more importantly, the goals, even if it's small goals at work. I think the big part of all these things that I'm about to show you, these 3 keys, is that they all starts with being able to really deeply visualize and see yourself accomplishing these things. Arnold, from a very young age, he saw himself winning Mr. Olympia, becoming an actor, coming to America. And me personally, I can tell you that the biggest things that I've accomplished in my life, whether it was getting into medical school, moving out to Silicon Valley here in California to work for tech companies, a lot of big things that happened for my life that I didn't know how to accomplish it, I deep down inside was able to visualize and see myself doing it. So, without further ado, let me show you these 3 keys that Arnold used as a formula of success. Gotta love internet magic. Now, the first key to success that Arnold has as part of his formula started from a very young age. You see, his father instilled a strategy in his brother and him that work equaled reward. So before even they could eat their breakfast, they had to go milk the cows, they had to fetch supplies, and they even had to do push-ups before they were even allowed to sit and eat at the table. And so reps and mileage, Arnold felt that no matter what it is in life, you have to do a lot of reps and you have to do it for a long time. But more importantly, it can start with small steps, right? You don't have to go to do anything in a very large amount of time and of course in many reps. You should do things in bite-sized steps. So if you're going to start working out, you shouldn't go to the gym and try and bench press 300 pounds. Start by just maybe doing a few push-ups a day and then build your mileage and reps over time. And again, it's reps and mileage. Repetition is the mother of wisdom. And if you want to get anywhere, you have to do that. If you think about some of the most famous people in the world when it comes to success, look at Kobe Bryant in his book, The Mamba Mentality. Kobe was known for just spending hours and hours and hours in the gym shooting free throws. Even in one time, one competitor said he came and saw Kobe shooting, so he started practicing, left the gym for a little bit, came back 3-4 hours later and saw Kobe there still training. And he went up to Kobe and said, "Hey, did you leave the gym?" And Kobe said, "No, I didn't, because the moment I saw you come into the gym, I wanted to let you know that no matter how hard you worked, I was going to work harder than you." Right? So that's number one. Number two, be the one. Arnold Schwarzenegger, coming to America, realized that he was this young kid, he was an immigrant with a funny accent, funny name, and so he needed people to believe in him, to invest in him. So he decided to focus on being the one person in a room where everybody looks and says, "I want to be like that guy," or "I want to invest in that person." And as a result of that type of mentality, Joe Weider, who was the founder of Gold's Gym, saw this in Arnold and said, "I'm going to invest in this guy." And of course he invested in him, and that gave Arnold a big platform to launch his career into a variety of different areas. And the last one is expose your flaws. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger had this quote where he said, in order for us to be successful, in order for us to achieve our dreams, we have to be the most brutal with ourselves in knowing our weaknesses and our flaws. So when it came to bodybuilding, Arnold knew he had the best arms in the world, the great big chest. But the thing that he lacked was that he had a lot of problems with his legs. His legs were very small. He even wrote that no matter how much he worked on how big his body, upper body was, he always struggled with his legs, specifically his calves. So in order to fix that, he teamed up with another bodybuilder he had a lot of respect for and looked up to, named Reg Park. Reg Park had the biggest calves in the world. And Arnold learned that what Reg was doing was he worked out the calves a lot longer and a lot harder than Arnold did. Again, back to reps and mileage. And then Reg actually came up with certain ways to add more weight to the machine so he can increase that. So aside from recognizing that flaw, what Arnold would do is that he forced himself to start wearing shorts so that his legs, his calves, the things that were his weakness, he was most embarrassed about, were exposed to motivate him to work on it even harder. And then at some point, when he started winning Mr. Olympia, people actually thought that he had surgery on his calves because they were so big and massive. And I think there's a big value in that, because many of us, when it comes to our weaknesses and flaws, we like to cover them up. We don't want to show that. But I think true courage, true power comes from being able to admit that you have a weakness and a flaw. And by doing that, by publicly putting that out there, you learned how to overcome it. I'll give you one great example with myself. Many of you have given me great compliments about my ability to speak and do these videos and do public speaking. Believe it or not, I actually, for a long time as a child, had a speech impediment. I had a lot of problems pronouncing words. I had a lot of problems speaking in long sentences. And one thing that I found was that, and this of course continued into adulthood, that I decided that if I learned to push myself and do reps and mileage in terms of speaking and enunciating and putting myself in situations where I will get embarrassed, but that's okay. I have to expose my flaws so I work on them more. And of course, that's how I realized that over the years, that by exposing myself in terms of my speech impediment, that's how I will be able to improve on it and really own and not be ashamed of the flaw and know that I can start mastering and controlling it. So that's the book of the week. Definitely get it. And if anything, I highly recommend for autobiographies to listen to them on Audible. It's a great way to start digesting autobiographies because there's a lot of stories and you can really appreciate them when you're doing things like taking a walk. So as always, I hope all is going well with your self-quarantining. We'll be ending with this soon, so just hang in there. As always, happy Wisdom Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.